Season 5 of Mind Over Music. We are live on Radio Azad as well as on Facebook with my special guest. This is part 2 with Miss Sophia Anwar, who is running for Justice of the Peace in Precinct 6. Voting is starting from February 17th to the 27th. Actual voting day, which we're not going to wait until, we're going to vote early from February 17th to the 27th. But voting day is March 3rd this year. Go out and get your vote out. Sophia, you are representing a very, very important part of our community. This is going to be the greater Castle Hills, Carrollton, and Louisville area, all under Denton County. So we are talking about this incredibly important role, Justice of the Peace. We left off in talking and discussing about the dynamics that the Justice of the Peace role plays in socioeconomics, because you're covering truancies, you're covering people who are getting evicted, and then people who are getting married. And all three of those have such great social dynamics. And the people that are struggling with this end up getting out of the fray of social, interactions, engagements. We become a very lonely society, and it happens because of unfortunate circumstances that sometimes are not in our control. And so let's talk about, can I actually talk about COVID a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I wanted to learn a little bit more about what happened, because right when COVID hit, we know that evictions went through the roof. People lost their jobs. There was a lot of uncertainty, but we also saw how broken the system was, and that landlords were not able to evict people, tenants, as quickly as they might have thought. We needed to have a much better, more robust solution. And, obviously that had to do with working with both tenants and landlords. When landlords go in and they say, you know what, I'm going to evict you now, that kind of shuts down all communication and all future hope that that tenant has in order to actually make it right with their landlord. And so we saw this social dynamic kind of play out. What were the lessons learned, and how would you deal with that type of situation should you get elected into this role?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think there's a lot of good lessons. And I think COVID, what it allowed us to do, like I mentioned before, because we couldn't go anywhere, we had to face these issues, right? We had to be like,
Right.
oh, wow, this is a really broken system.
Yeah.
I remember actually really recently, I was at TWU and I was asked to speak to a class of government majors.
Mm.
And
Really recently.
yeah, not too long ago. I think within this last year, maybe
Wow.
2 years.
Yeah.
And a congresswoman was on that panel as well. And I said, I've worked on the Hill.
Mhm.
And the craziest thing I saw was the fact that so much of our government is just held up like paper clips and staples.
Mhm.
And I said it like that. And I remember the congresswoman spoke a little bit later and was like, well, I don't know about that. I mean, we're, trucking along. And then look at now, it's like, oh, wow, a lot of our systems are really fragile. And it's true. Systems only work if they're working in tandem, if they're working, it's kind of like a train, it just has to be like a well-oiled machine. But what if one part is just being overlooked?
Yes.
Or the entire system is being overlooked. It's putting too much pressure here or there. It's not, starts to rust, starts to go slowly, and then very slowly the whole thing collapses.
Right.
And so we saw that during COVID too. And so I mentioned before, I sit on these monthly meetings with partners from all across the Denton County that offer, food assistance, utilities assistance, rental assistance, and they're all part of one ecosystem. And so what we noticed from the work during COVID was how some states and some counties handled it that didn't go well, and how some states and counties handled things that did go well. And so I think taking learnings, like even a broken clock is right 2 times a day, right? So there are some learnings that you can take from anywhere. And if you're not doing that, again, you're being egotistical. You're putting self over, service, which doesn't serve anybody, to be very honest. But what we notice is that, yes, obviously tenants need to know their rights, and they need to know, how and what help they can have. But at the same time, landlords are beholden to banks.
Yes.
Right? Private equity, whatever is, trying to buy them out.
Right.
Right. And they're just hanging on as well. And so we can't necessarily make the tenant the evil guy. We can't make the landlord the evil guy. Yes, obviously there are always going to be some bad actors, but we go in there with a presumption that everyone is a bad actor.
Or everyone's trying their best.
Or yeah, right. We're not gonna like
Yeah.
have solutions there. So
Right.
what can we do? And so even providing, you know, relief to those landlords or sharing resources that are available to them that they can then provide their tenants so that they're not having to go through the inconvenience of evicting someone.
Mhm.
Not only is it really costly, but it costs, you know, to the time spent. So we want to make sure that we're doing that, because even the most like beneficent, you know, landlord can only do that how many times,
Right.
right? They do it the nine times out of 10. That's great. The 10th time they're like, listen, like
I have, yeah, what do I do here?
I
Like,
can't.
I'm
I
in
also have
business.
to pay. Yeah, I also have to pay the bills. Like you
Right.
pay the bills so that I can pay the bills,
Right.
and that's not coming in. So we have to, you know, nurture this ecosystem. And you talked about, you know, weddings,
Mhm.
right? And I so I've almost been married for 10 years now. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, for all the things.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And
And everyone's still alive.
everyone's still, you know, we even made, you know, two more little kids, and they're great. And
We
you know,
made 2 little kids.
yeah,
Cool.
no, but I remember when we got married, you know, like most folks, even in Texas, it's like you have your, you know, nikah ceremony,
Of
but
course.
you actually still have to also go get your
Right.
legally married.
So yeah.
And we have so many different mosques, Sunni, Ismaili,
Isnashe,
Shia. We have
Gori.
we have
Yeah.
so many. We have
Yeah.
temples. We have, I mean, uh, we have so many different religious and cultures within precinct 6 is so diverse and has the best food in my opinion. But and that puts people having to go to what could be like a very sterile environment to go
Yeah.
get their marriage certificate,
Yeah.
which I don't know, like I've, you know, this is the one time I'm looking to get married. Like I wanted it to be really nice. And
Right.
unfortunately, like our guy wasn't really able to pronounce our names properly. And,
Right.
you know, like most Pakistani Muslim families, like I wasn't trying to kiss the bride, you know, have the, you know, that whole situation in front of my
Yeah.
in-laws. I was like, oh
Right.
God, this is so embarrassing. And
Yeah.
I mean, we all laughed, but
Yeah.
it was like a nervous laugh, right, for
Right.
everybody.
Right.
And it wasn't the worst, but it didn't have to be that way.
Yeah. And you know, it's like, why have to do,
Why do we have to do that?
you know, that's the thing, is like, I don't understand why we accept it.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
it's like,
We say these things are like rites of passage, and I'm like, what rite and what
what?
passage? Like, I don't want to do that. So I think there is an opportunity. Again, same thing. Like,
Yeah.
is there something like here is like a kind of thing that I would say? Am I pronouncing your names properly?
Right. That's
Tell
nice.
me what your names are.
That's
I'm gonna
nice.
pronounce you married. So I think it's important to, you know, say your names
And
properly.
he's still gonna mess it up, or she's still
Yeah.
gonna mess it up. But you know, at least, you know,
Yeah.
A for effort.
Yeah. You know, my I remember I have a it's not recording to marriage, but just like the name thing, right? Like,
Yeah.
um, I remember when we were newly married, I went to like my husband was working like a long shift, so I like went to drop off something, and they're like, "Who's your husband?" I was like Malik, and they were like, "Who?" And I was like, "Malik," and they're like,
Malik.
"Who?" And they were like, "Oh, Malik," and I'm like, "Yeah," and they're
Yeah.
like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm his wife." The lady who didn't know which name that you called, you know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
like so
Sophia.
silly.
Did you say Sophia?
Like so silly,
Yeah.
right? It's like,
Yeah.
you know, so I think we all have those things too where like people just
Malik. Yeah.
are always going to say our names wrong, but it's like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
So I think it's just, again, we can give people the dignity, not only
That's
just during
it.
their
It's a
worst
moment
day.
of dignity.
Yeah.
And you know, the other thing is that like other Christian faiths, they don't have to go through this,
Yeah.
right? And you know, but
Like they can choose to.
they can choose what they want to, but they get certified. Their priests get certified.
Yeah.
Well, why can't our community leaders
Yeah.
be just
Yeah.
that? I mean, it's interesting because you know the temples, the mosques, Jamaat Khana, so on and so forth, they are seen by the state as nonprofit, like religious
Mhm.
organizations and institutions. Yet the people that are leading those institutions are not seen in the same way by the state.
Yeah.
And so there is a huge inconsistency there. I mean, Salman Bojani tried to make a house bill out of it. I
Yeah.
forgot the number, but I think we're supposed to look that
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
But
mean, Salman, thank you so much for addressing it. But
yeah,
like, you know,
absolutely. I mean, it is representation, but it's dignity. Like these
yes,
are, you know, we talk about this is a passage of life and we want to celebrate these
Mhm. Yeah.
moments for people. It is a moment of celebration. And there is just no reason why it should take some folks more steps to do it.
Right.
You know, I mean, even if you don't think about all those things, think logistically.
Hmm.
Talk to any bride about planning their wedding,
Right.
and then be like, "Oh, now actually, you need to also add this
Add in the
step."
civil ceremony. Yeah.
I will say 10 out of 10 brides will say, "Why? This doesn't fit. I have family flying in. Like, when am I supposed to do this? Like, I can also only do it during
Yes.
business
Business hours.
hours."
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
people, plan their weddings around like the holidays and family flying in. I mean, it's just, again, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
And I think also something that's really important to me is that some of these moments are hard and we can't escape that, but there's no reason that we can't be human while we do go through them.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that why we can't make these spaces more human and bring joy where we're allowed it, because life is hard.
Man, this is such a
Life is hard.
What a
We
good
don't
point. What a
we
good
don't
point.
have to make
Making
every
spaces more human. Like,
Yeah.
wow. You know one thing that really tugged at my heartstrings
Oh no.
when you were at the food pantry, and you had your little one in your arms, and you're like, oh, I'm so glad she's behaving. But to say that you had this like beautiful like logic where you were talking about like it's not the poor people that need the food that are going to show up at the grocery stores. And so we need to go to where they are,
Yeah.
and they are literally like trying to hide because
Yes.
they are so ashamed.
Yeah.
Nobody really wants to be like, hey guys, like I got a problem.
Yeah.
Everyone that has a problem, most people, normal people, are saying, I can figure it out. And
Yeah.
it's like, you can't figure it out, man. Like,
Yeah.
let us help. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're too not proud. I think
They want to be able to figure it out.
they want to figure it out, and they want to pull themselves up by their bootstraps.
Yeah.
So that is literally, I mean, that's something that we need to understand, is that's how it really is in reality.
And that's what
You're
they're
saying
doing.
that they're trying, right?
They're doing that.
And so, even if you have resources, it's very difficult for them to actually want to accept those resources. But to find those people is like, you can't find people when you're hunting them down, right? You have to create a sweet moment, a place where people don't feel judged, that they can come in and feel human again.
Mhm.
And that, I think, is what you do best. That is why I think you're going to do so well in this role, is because just being around you makes everyone else feel a little bit more human. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're awesome, dude.
Thank you.
Pound up. Yeah. So, I mean, I think, and that's the thing, is like, you're taking that skill set and you're saying, okay, how can I apply this back into the community? And that is a reflection of our ethics and our values as a community, to have great representation. And this is why we all need to go out, vote, contribute to the campaign, knock on doors,
Absolutely.
show people who Sophia Unver really is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And hopefully this helps, right?
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I mean, this is what we're about.
Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes I remember when I first applied to work at the White House. I know that sounds like, oh wow, but I remember I had a friend, who she was my best friend, and she was like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "Well, I'm gonna apply, and then I'm gonna move there, and then I'm gonna like figure it out. Like I'm just gonna find things to do, And she was like, and I kind of like laid out this like 5-10 year plan of how I'm gonna like work in government and da. And I remember her being like, "I don't think it works that way." And I was like, "No, like seriously, there's an application." I like printed it out and I wrote it, and then I like uploaded it, stupid PDF, but I had to upload it, and then I submitted it.
Did it work that way?
Yeah.
Bam.
But that's the thing. Like there are these spaces that are so like mystified.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you can't just apply.
No, it's that easy.
No, but it's like, no, you really can't. Like there are some like qualifications you have to meet, like, just like voting. Are you a US citizen?
Right,
Yes.
right.
Great.
Yeah.
Are you above 18? Yes. Great. Are you registered to vote? Because the last day to register to vote is February 2nd, 2026. February 2nd, 2026. And you can check your voter, registration status. And then you can go vote at your polling location anywhere in Denton County, February 17 to 27, which also happens to coincide with the first week of Ramadan. So,
oh yeah, that's right.
So fast.
Yes.
Pray.
And then vote fast.
And then open your rosa.
And pray that Sophia becomes.
And go to your nearest polling location, Carrollton Library.
Yep. Anna
in Castle Hills, Queen Margaret in Castle Hills, Rosemead Rec Center.
Rosemead Rec Center.
Listen, all those places, just go there and you say, I would like to vote in the primaries because that's what that is. The primaries. That's where like we're looking at like a bracket. That's the first bracket. Very important. First bracket. And you say, I want a Democratic primary ballot.
Okay.
You fill out the whole ballot. I know that's crazy too.
But does it have to be Democratic? Can you say that you're nonpartisan?
Well, so this is
Do you show up?
so this is a partisan election.
Oh,
Yeah.
so only Democrats can vote for you?
So for the primary.
Oh my gosh.
So I am running for the Democratic nomination.
Oh my gosh.
So you have to. So even if, let's say you aren't a Democrat,
Yeah.
that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Everyone chooses how they want to vote. Or maybe you're an independent and you don't want to vote in a
Right.
partisan, a primary. You can vote in November,
Okay.
right? For the general.
Yeah.
But in order to ensure that you can vote for me in November in the general,
You have to get through the primary.
I gotta get through the primary.
Oh my
so I need
gosh.
people to vote in the primary.
Yo, this is really important information.
Yes. That's why. That's why I'm sharing
Okay.
it.
Okay. Hey,
So then you
hey,
go,
if you're a Democrat, you better get your butt
and
to
I
the
need you to
polls.
grab your nani, your
Yes,
daddy, your
yes.
chala, your masi, your chachi.
Everyone.
You know,
I'm gonna have a.
Yeah.
I can't vote for you because
you
I'm
can't.
in. I'm
but
in a
you know
different.
people in Carrollton.
But I do know we have a whole Jamaat Khanat out there.
Okay.
And
Well,
this is
hello.
going to all of you guys.
Well, hello.
Hello.
And listen, I
Meet
want
Sophia Anwar.
yeah, and I want you to make an informed decision. You know, that's the
Yeah.
thing too. Like every elected official, every public servant, like needs to earn your vote.
Yes.
So ask them questions. Like ask them, please, even if you don't know what it is. Like that's an excellent question.
Yeah.
Please do. And ahead of that, you know, like you said, this is an investment in your community.
Yes. It's also an investment in the future of the community. It's not just now.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. You know, and this is a question that I kind of wanted to ask you, and this is going to be toward the end, but it's definitely not the end. But
You're pushing me out the door.
never. No. We're going to take you all the way to 10. But you know, I want to kind of understand. You know, this is, you know, you started off in nonprofit.
Mhm.
You're able to get to the White House. You're able to serve, you know, at the highest levels of government. You came back down to Texas, you know, worked with Salman Bajani, but, you know, served, you know, in Texas, the Texas government specifically. You had very important issues that you're very passionate about, and now you're going for justice of the peace. What is like? How do you see, you know, as a person that has had so many years of experience under their belt and developing this into, you know, a career of sorts, or, you know, just public service as a lifestyle? How do you see that in the future, like playing out for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess that's in charge of the voters.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things where, you know, like you shared, I've been very, very blessed and lucky.
Yeah. So
right?
all of us.
All of us. Yes, I worked hard and I applied to things, but if I look back, I'm sure there's so many points where I go, if that one person hadn't stopped to talk to me, or if I hadn't, like, you know, randomly bumped into this person, like
Yeah.
how different would have my life have been? And I think having worked, you know, after the White House, I saw so many things and I thought, you know what, I want to work in the policy. Like, yes, the president is really important, but you know who passes laws? That's, you know, the legislature. So I want to go work on the Hill.
Right.
So I went from like the highest to be like, I want to get more, you know,
granular.
And so I went there, and for me, a lot of it was small business because my dad, like many, you know, Pakistanis or Desis, like small business owner,
Yeah.
right? And so I was like, we need more for small businesses, you know, like what do we, like how do we support small businesses? And because small business dollars spent at small businesses go back into your community.
Yes. Ek amor aaya.
Right? Like, and that's the investment you do literally with your dollar back into your community. That dollar goes further in investing into your public schools, into your roads, into your city, whereas a dollar spent at, you know, a corporation doesn't.
Right.
Or
it does, but in a different
way. Not one that invests in you.
Right.
So sorry. Right. A millionaire is still way further from a billionaire than you think it is. I'm really sorry. Really, really sorry.
Yeah.
So again, it's math, right? And if you understand the math, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be putting this dollar here. I should be putting this dollar here. Right. So there's so many things. And so
I think it was Simon Sinek, and I'm gonna get the timelines wrong, but like it was like, do you know what 1,000,000 seconds is And he goes, it's like 8 months. It's like, do you know what a billion seconds is? And it's like 10 years.
Yeah.
It's like
But we don't think about it
very
like that.
different,
Because you know
yeah.
why? Because like a million seems so out of reach.
Right.
So a billion should also be so out of reach.
Right. Nope. It
But
is
it's like
orders
it's
of
even more millennial.
magnitude.
Yes,
Yes.
even so many more millions.
Yeah.
So
1,000 million, like 1,000
yeah,
million
and it
more
sounds
seconds.
crazy. And that
Yeah.
sounds like a made up number because
Yeah.
it should be.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And now we're in trillions.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
So for me it was that. It was like I care about small business because I come from a family where that one small business like funded our life, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that's how it worked. And so I did that, and I just as soon as I got to the to Congress, I also noticed there were so many things where people would call and say, "We need help with XYZ." And I'd be like, "Well, that's not a federal issue. That's actually a state issue."
Mm-hmm.
And they'd be like, "Oh, what? Who do I talk to?" Because it's very confusing.
Yes.
Because the only people we learn about are like Congress,
Right.
right? Schoolhouse Rock. I mean, like I'm just a bill sitting on Capitol Hill. That's all you learn about. You
Yeah.
don't learn about
Yeah.
your state
Right.
legislature.
Issues,
You don't
yeah.
learn about what a governor really does. Like
Right.
what does your mayor do
Mayor
in
do, right,
comparison,
exactly.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And so we'd have to like funnel. Okay, actually, you've called the wrong person. You're supposed to call XYZ, but that's all you're doing,
Right.
right? For the most part, is you're just trying to help people who call and say like, I have a need, and connect them with a person who can actually help.
Mm.
So having experienced that too, like I got good at being like, oh, I don't know who you're supposed to actually reach out to, but I will find out.
Right.
And when you talk to a bunch of people, you learn what a bunch of people do, and then you figure out who to connect people to.
Amazing. You're like the operator.
you are basically an operator, but you're also like, who? There's no like direct line, unfortunately. You just have to figure it out.
Right.
And so you do that. And so after having done that, I was like, you know what? Like all these people are flying to DC to talk about local issues.
Right.
You know where local issues are happening?
Locally. Jinx.
So I was like, I moved all the way out here. Like, what? And so, when I got an opportunity and I'd watched Representative Bojani like get elected.
Yeah.
First South Asian, first Muslim.
Amazing.
I was like, wow. So
Yes.
I just like been watching from afar, like kind of like Radio Azad, like long time listener, first time, first time caller or whatever, first time subscriber.
Right.
And I had just seen all these people following along, like, social media, like, wow, look what they're doing. When the opportunity came to like a job opening, I also was just like, I'll just apply.
Right. Wow.
Right. Again, worst case, they say no.
Yeah.
But, we interviewed and I, I shared like, these are all my things. I just really like
government. I really like local issues.
Government.
I really like
it's
local
not everyone's
policy.
cup of tea, but I really enjoy it. I think and it's frustrating. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of times where I'm like, oh my God, this is for no reason, really hard. But it was really great to be able to say like, wait,
yes,
I know who can help you.
Yes.
Because I've maybe been that person before.
Yes.
So then even before reaching out to that person, being like, before you say yes or no, I want to tell you what you can do here too.
Yeah.
And sharing with them like what they could do, and then telling them like, here's what we would like you to do, and then working with them to find that solution. So that's been really fun for me. And so it's just gotten more and more granular. And then, after working with his office, like I mentioned, I had a baby. So it was, surprise, yay.
Surprise.
And so, but even then, like
surprise.
Yeah.
To me too. Surprise.
Oh, okay. And that's not part. It wasn't
dealing with this now.
Yeah, it wasn't part of the timeline, but
What a blessing.
Yeah, what a blessing. But again, like as a family, like you do have to figure out, okay, how does this affect?
Yeah.
Even logistically.
Exactly.
And if you're a working mom, or working parent, honestly, so much of your life is like logistics.
Mm-hmm.
Work hours are this to this.
Yep.
School hours are this to this. Aftercare, before care, as a kid is sick, like so much of activities, like, and that's if everything is going right.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Like so much of it is just built on the first thing being right and the second thing being right. One thing moves out and you're like, okay, who can come? And not everyone has,
Can you imagine like but like a health issue?
Yeah.
To anybody, you, partner, kid, everything's off.
Yeah.
Like
your whole
life is so fragile.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're just like moving along. And as soon as there's one hiccup, we're like, wait, but that's the sign of like not a stable environment. If one thing throws everything off, like that's too fragile, actually. And unfortunately, so many people are living in
I
this.
think we all live in that.
We're all living in a very fragile state.
Yeah,
And
like one thing can happen to one person, and it's just so devastating that they lose their job.
yeah.
Now they're in eviction. Now they can't extend their kid.
And it seems like
Like-
just one thing after another. Like you're like, I cannot catch a break.
Yeah.
And
Most of us are on the edge.
most of our, like my dad says all the time, like most people are like hand to mouth. Like
Yes.
they are literally just getting paid and paying their rent and paying, if there's one hiccup here and there, like things do start to fall apart. So for me, that's always been like the crux of it. It was like, how can we make this better
Yeah.
in some spaces? And again,
how do you make it better? Like,
I think a lot of it is making sure people know what real life is like for people. Because I think a lot of people don't know.
This is so brilliant. Wow. Yeah.
And it seems so
Dude,
simple.
Your job. Wow. I'm so sorry.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize this is something so profound.
This is a very profound moment. Success is not just dependent on a policy or a set of policies that you are going to enact. To create institutional and civic awareness to the people that are actually struggling and give them the spotlight in a respectful way, where they don't have to run behind the wall, but they can actually be seen and still have their dignity intact, is the role.
Yeah. And I think we're seeing
that's everything.
And the thing is, like, it sounds so like duh, but
it's nobody does that.
It's not. And I think that's the problem. It's like a lot of people.
If you're able to do that, you're going to change the game.
And the thing is, it's a collaborative effort.
Wow.
A collaborative effort, right?
Yeah.
So I think having the relationships in the nonprofit space are very important, because knowing what resources are available are really important, because then you can offer them.
Right.
I never want to be able to say like, hey, we can solve your problem. And then you go and they're like, oh, actually, no, we don't have anything for you.
Right.
That person who reached out for help, which was very hard for them to do, and now they've been like disappointed or set up for failure that way, it's going to make them 10 times as harder for them to ask for help next time. And next time it's going to be probably too late.
Well, it's also, like you said, like we might not have the solution exactly the way that you need it, but let's work on it together.
Let's work on it together, because there's so many things, right? Like if you're going through hardship, and let's say, and this is sort of out of scope of this, but just to share, right? Like you're going through a hardship, and you shared earlier, like let's say you're taking care of your caregiver. Cost of medication is really high. Is there a way to like find something cheaper there, or work with a provider there? Cost of groceries are really high. Is there a way to like, help there? Again, every dollar, especially in that situation, really counts.
Right.
If there are resources to help logistically, to help with some type of assistance, not just with money, but with like care providing, that can be a huge help. And so, making sure, I think, connecting needs with resources, connecting resources with needs, because that's also very hard. There are some people who are like, I want to help. And they're like, but who do we help? Right.
And you think about Precinct 6, and it is fairly affluent. It's and so I think that's the dilemma. That's the question that everyone's going to ask.
That's the thing. It's parts of it. Parts of it are affluent, and I think even within that, people don't realize which neighbors are struggling.
Exactly. That's
because people don't walk around and saying, "Hi, I'm struggling with X issue."
No, but like the thing is that the people that are struggling shouldn't be ashamed because they're struggling.
Yeah.
Especially if they're trying to keep up with the Joneses and things of that sort.
And I've sat in on, I want to see how things. I'm very curious. So I love to see how things are done.
Yeah.
So I've sat in on JP court proceedings in Denton County and Dallas County. Again, like I don't really care who the judge is. I want to see how they run their court.
Right.
I want to learn from them. What are they doing right that I would love to do? What are they doing something? I'm like, I don't know about all that, but I can't just say I want to do something. I've never experienced it before.
Right.
So for me, there were so many people, which was just like, it felt like the worst thing to hear. They would just say like, this has never happened to me before.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first time.
This is crazy.
Happened. Yeah. And they felt like they needed to say that, to say like, I promise I don't get evicted all the time.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't me.
Yeah.
It's just happening to me today, but like, this isn't me.
Right. This is not a pattern of behavior.
Yeah. But it's like, you're already going through such a crisis, but then you still, I mean,
Have
it's
to keep your dignity
have
intact.
to feel to say like,
Mhm.
I promise I
I
don't do
swear,
this
I swear I don't do this.
often,
Yeah.
and that's terrible. When all
Mm.
you're really trying to do is make sure these people get resources, but also, again, making sure that people are treated with fairness and dignity, and we're properly following the law. But justice in these spaces, I feel like, is not enough.
Yeah,
You have to connect people with
I
resources,
agree.
because again, a 4 to 6 week extension is good, but
What do you do in that time? And
what,
like, are
yeah,
you actually creating resources in that time?
yeah,
Is it enough
yeah,
time to do
that
that?
that quick exhale of like, oh, thank God, and then immediately followed by,
Oh my gosh,
wait,
what do I do
what do
now?
I do now?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think
And
one
that's real
other,
life.
that's life. I agree. Another thing that I don't think people are taking into account is this idea that we don't know who's running our cities. A lot of the decisions that are made at the level of the courts.
Mhm.
And the people that are sitting on those benches have so much incredible authority,
Yeah,
and we don't know whose court that is.
absolutely.
And this role, Justice of the Peace, really shows and establishes strong relationships with the judges
Mhm.
in those circuits.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that and how important it is for us to know the judges that are on those benches, the decisions that they typically make, and how that affects our communities at large.
absolutely. I think everyone, will see people show up at, again, happy moments
Hmm.
or big moments, and we're like, oh, they're there, they showed up for us.
Yeah.
But I'd always like people to go a little further and say, tell me how they're voting,
Hmm.
tell me how they're impacting you.
Right.
Because if they show up to shake your hand and say, great job, but then they leave and then, are gutting your community, or, you know, taking tax dollars away, or, you know, or ruling in a way that helps keep a lot of your neighbors in a terrible cycle, like, are they really showing up for you? Who are they
Exactly.
showing up
Are,
for?
are they even living in this community? A
Yeah.
lot of these people don't even live.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, I drive those same roads. I'm doing pick up and drop off, and
Mhm.
all the things. So yeah, it's really important, I think, that people are part of the community, because that's where the community can reach them and share like what's happening.
Yes.
So I think that's really important. I think it's important for you to be active, for you to be accessible. And I think also, do your research. Like, so much of this information is out in the open. It's a little bit complicated to find, I won't lie, but it's there, right? So like, look at who is donating to which people. If you find someone that you relate to, or you think like this person, like, they have you feel like not only do they have a good heart, but they can actually get things done.
Yeah.
Invest in them.
Yeah.
Invest in them, because that is what helps more people step up to run. That's what helps more people, good candidates, who don't come from a lot of money, to just step on in and decide to do this. Like, it helps real people run and get elected for these positions, which is really what we need,
Yeah.
because you can't say, oh, these elected officials are so out of touch. Well, maybe we need in touch people,
Exactly.
right? And how are we going to get there?
Yeah.
Because a lot of these positions, like, don't really, even just the idea of like campaigning, I mean, it's very time consuming. It can be very costly. People will say like, this person never shows up at this event. It's like, do you know how hard it is to like drive from here to there and try to be everywhere at once? And so
Mm.
I'm not saying that, we shouldn't hold our elected officials to a higher standard, but I think what that standard is should change.
Yeah.
More about what they do, not just what they say. And so how do they show up? So again, even like with the food pantries that we were mentioning earlier, like, I'm seeing people want to step up,
Yeah.
and they're like, I'm going to create a food pantry. Like, I put stuff in front of my garage. Anyone who wants it can get it. How are you reaching those people?
Yeah. They're not driving through neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they're not
Especially
like checking
like,
your specific Facebook page. I mean, I
right.
get the intention, and it is
Yeah.
good,
It's good. Yeah. Isn't
but
good heart, but
is it helpful?
yeah. But I think that also comes from a small level of distrust of the government, right? It's like, you know what? Instead of me donating to this, I'm actually going to set up the food pantry so I know who's getting the food, so I know it's being delivered.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the sentiment of like, we don't really trust the institution to like take this initiative and like make sure that the people that I know I can feed within a 5-mile radius, even
Right.
though, nobody like,
Maybe no one comes.
nobody comes, and
Yeah.
like, or they're too embarrassed to
Yeah.
like know that, hey, like, Mr. Rogers is giving us food, like, thanks, Mr. Rogers, but now you know how poor I am. And like, I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah, no, absolutely. We want to make sure people are treated again.
because now your kid sees that my kid is in the car and they're classmates, and like now it's
That's a
like,
whole thing.
now my
That's a
kid
whole
doesn't
thing.
want to go to school and now they're truant. And then it's like
Oh
another,
God. Yeah.
right?
No, but that, I mean, literally poverty plays a role in
Yes.
kids not going to school.
Of course,
Like
of course.
that's a big,
And
big
especially
deal.
if they get made fun of, they can't
Yeah.
shower, they don't
I mean,
have clean
it's
clothes. Like, dude, it's a lot of this stuff is
so-
dignity based.
Oh yeah. Just treating people like people for sure. And so like, again, that has to be with not only educating on like how things are done.
No.
I think that's something that we need to do more of. I think at some point we did kind of like show our work.
Yeah.
And then I think we reached a point where we're like, okay, everyone's seen our work. Now
Yeah.
we're just gonna assume everyone remembers forever.
Well, I think when you have some of these events that happen, right, and you're connecting the people who have the needs versus the people that who want to get more involved, it's going back to this whole idea that like I want to see the impact that I'm making because I want to feel that I'm helping that
Right,
person,
right.
but that person doesn't necessarily need everyone to know that they're being
Yeah,
helped.
yeah.
And so, how are you going to strike that balance?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's something for me, like in the nonprofit space, it's like one of the first questions I asked. I was like, okay, obviously there's need. I'm seeing, nonprofits show up in a great way. That's good.
Yeah.
People need help. We're connecting them with help. But if we are not also advocating for good policies, then we're just constantly keeping people in the cycle of need so that we
Yes.
can keep giving them.
Exactly.
And that's not
good. Okay. This is, man, I'm going to get into politics a
Yeah,
little bit.
That's okay.
I feel like this is the big democratic dilemma,
Yeah.
is because when you establish institutions to keep people in that cycle because you want to help, but you want to keep helping, and then you have this moral high ground that doesn't actually enable people to get out of the system, you kind of trap them in to this
Yeah.
loop. And when people, like, I feel like a lot of Republicans are saying, well, no, we want to get them out of the loop. And so they smash a hammer into it, right? And they say we need to destroy the institution, which that doesn't help either. But
Yeah.
like, for Democrats, like, we need to also have to think through like what the end game is for this person, for this family,
Absolutely.
because it's not about just helping them today, it's helping them and then teaching them how to fish,
Yeah.
so that we get them out of the situation, or giving them the resources so that they can get themselves out of
Right.
quicksand.
Right. Absolutely.
So that, I feel like that's the part that kind of like misses,
Yeah.
is because we want that. I think we're addicted to, just like how social media keeps us addicted to that high. The high for us is, did we help? Who did we help? Let
Yeah.
us see that person.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
they're-
for sure. For sure. That's very real. That's
Yeah.
very real. And I think, again, you have to go like, for me, I'm like, the goal, I think, for any nonprofit should be to not have to give.
Yes.
Like, that there is no more need.
Yes.
But you can't do that in a cycle.
Or you give, but give in a way that is sustainable, so that when you give, it recycles.
Right.
Because
And so I think you have to work within the equation, right? Like, for
Yeah.
example, when you're able to see things sort of at a higher level,
Yeah.
you do see, and we know for a fact that the federal government is cutting / reallocating funds for HUD. So housing and urban development,
Yes.
right? And so they're moving money around. And so then for not only states, counties, cities, nonprofit, it's not about like, what will we do? It's like, okay, we have to get ready because these changes are happening. So how can we fill the gaps? And what we're seeing more and more is the funding, which again, we know this is happening, so it's just going to slowly start to happen and more people are going to start to feel it, is the funding to help people in sort of these like long-term, spaces to help them get into more stable housing is going to start getting cut. It's going to start getting smaller.
Yeah.
And so, okay, we're seeing then that, the money is being allocated towards maybe more workforce. Okay, then. That's
sustainable.
That can be sustainable. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's work in that equation.
Right.
Right? Again, I keep saying equations, but you have to understand all the factors.
Yes.
If we're only looking at one part, all we're doing is just making it harder, I think.
Yeah.
We're not helping truly. So we truly want to be helpful. We want to be able to say like, okay, are there enough jobs like this?
Mhm.
But then we have to have an honest conversation too, because it's not just about jobs, it's about jobs that pay a wage
Right. That's livable.
that allows people to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, even in the nonprofit spaces, we offer a lot of tax filing assistance.
Mhm.
And what we'll see is a lot of the people who live in these Alice households, that's what they're classified as, is asset limited,
Mhm.
income constraint,
Mhm.
employed.
Mm.
Everyone forgets that last one, but it's really
Employed.
important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Most of those people, because literally
They're
taxes
just
were
getting
being
underpaid.
done,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're holding like 2 to 3 jobs.
Yes.
Do you think
Super
they
employed.
want 2 to 3 jobs?
Nope.
No, they would love to do one
Yes.
with reasonable hours,
Yes.
get paid for doing a good job, and then being able to provide for their family. Again, different levels of what that looks like, but people would do it. But they're having to work multiple jobs
Yeah.
to try to make ends meet because 2 plus 2 is just not adding up.
How do you address like the skilling part of it then? Like, because I think, okay, so I have two questions.
Yeah.
One is, you have somebody that's in 2 to 3 jobs and it's very difficult for them to find time to skill up. So
Yeah.
it's very hard to create resources around skilling
Yeah.
because they can't afford
Yeah.
to take time off to do that in the
Right.
first place. And then the second is, let's say you have a family or a single parent that is working really hard, but they're behind on their rent and they're getting evicted, but they are in a let's say like a middle of the run, like apartment complex,
Yeah.
right? Or they have a house or something like that, or they're leasing out a house. How do you maintain that dignity level if you say, okay, look, the student, your child will go into the same schooling system, but we got to move you to the Section 8 housing, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Right.
it's just not going to work. So how do you maintain dignity at both levels, or feasibility on the skilling side?
So I think that's definitely a more important question. And I want to share also like that exact role is not for the Justice of the Peace Court. But again, those resources can be made accessible to
Right.
the court so that those people can get access to those resources. And what you're talking about actually is called like it's called a benefits cliff.
Okay.
So like if let's say you have that single mom who maybe is working and making right under
Mhm.
you know
Poverty or whatever.
right,
Yeah.
whatever that
Threshold
dollar
is.
amount is,
Yeah.
that threshold, but that allows her access to more affordable childcare, even healthcare and housing.
Housing. Yep.
So again, the equation is not great, but it is allowing her to like get by.
Right. Right.
Now, if she
But
could,
she also doesn't want to hit that
but she
threshold.
could get a promotion
Right.
in her job, which is
Yes.
fantastic.
But all that
But
promotion
then
money's
all that promotion does is it pushes her over,
exactly.
and now
She
she
has
can
all
no
these
longer
expenses.
afford
Yes.
childcare, healthcare, housing.
Yeah.
And so that person is not at fault.
Right.
That system.
How do you correct that?
So again, it has to be a collaborative, and I think approach. It's not just one for like the Justice of the Peace Court to handle, but it's, I think, something that our entire country is facing, is that we have to have an honest conversation of what affordability looks like.
Right.
And we can't just keep saying like, oh, things are high right now, things will get lower later. Like, people truly are having a hard time affording living
Life. Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And they don't, there are a lot of people I know who are affluent,
Mm-hmm.
and they've raised their kids, the pricing of their house has gone up, and they're like, we don't really need this much house anymore.
Or the property taxes are also going up, and holy
Right.
moly. Yeah, yeah.
But if they move, even if they get a great amount on their house, they literally can't afford
The new
to
house.
move back even in their neighborhood.
Yes. Or even a smaller house in that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, everyone is sort of in different ways. I mean, that you could say that it's a bit more of a privileged problem to have, but still it's a problem. Like, people are just in a very stuck space.
It's a more relevant problem for Precinct 6.
Right, for sure. Yeah, no, for
You
sure.
know what I mean?
And that's the thing, you were talking about affluence, and like, there are portions of, Precinct 6 that are doing really well, but there are also a large portion of Precinct 6 that is struggling.
Yeah.
And that area, I think another reason why I'm so passionate about this exact position is because where Precinct 6 sits, We have a little bit of Plano. We have a little bit of Dallas.
Yep.
We have Carrollton, which
Carrollton.
is in Denton County.
Yep.
But Plano is also in Collin County. Some of Carrollton is also in Dallas County, obviously Dallas. So even people who live within Precinct 6 sometimes don't know what resources are theirs.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't know, you're like in this city, but you're in that county. And so there are county resources that they might be available to.
Wow.
But we want to make sure that that area also gets kind of that attention, because you're kind of almost somewhere, but not. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that that's also why, for me, this is a space that not only is due, but deserves that attention, and also has such a diverse space. I mean, we have a huge Korean population.
That's okay. So I was going to leave you with this question.
Yeah.
So this is my last question, because we're out of time now. But that
I'll just have to come back.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we'll do like 10 more of these. You're right. This is a very diverse precinct. How are you connecting with the greater other communities, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, this is outside of Harry Hines, which is like downtown Korea, right?
Yeah.
Koreatown. Now it's Carrollton,
Yeah.
and we have such diversity there. We also have our white and black brothers and sisters.
Yeah, there's large Hispanic population.
Huge Hispanic population,
Yeah.
Blaylock, like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so many. And so how do you reconcile all these diverse communities, and what is the messaging that is also given?
Absolutely. I think we're all struggling with the same things in different ways.
Right.
And at the heart of it is affordability and accessibility.
Yes.
So making sure that that shows up however other people need it. So whether it's making sure, information is shared in multiple languages, making sure that we share in advance that there are interpreters that can be available also. Like, despite the languages I speak, I don't speak all the languages. Sorry. I don't. I'm only yet a person, but making sure that people in advance know that those resources are there. Not everyone asks, hey, do you have that?
Yeah.
Or, hey, can I have that?
Yeah.
I would rather just try to present that information right at the front.
Yeah.
And so making sure that's available, also making outreaches, whether it's with the Asian American Chamber, so the Filipino Chamber, making sure that, I'm meeting with people in the Korean communities and the Hispanic communities and the Black communities. And you have to go everywhere. And that doesn't mean that those people speak for the entire community, but at least people feel like you are taking the time to come, and you're also showing that I want to hear from you because you have something to share.
Yeah.
You have something
Every
to say.
individual is a part of the community.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, you pay taxes here. This is yours.
This is yours. Absolutely.
And I think we need to bring that back of like, this is your community.
Yes.
This is our community.
I love it.
And we have to make this better. Like, I alone can't do it. We can't wait on other people to come. Like, this is it. Yeah. We are the people.
We are the people. We are the government.
we are the government. This is your government.
Yeah. Sophia Unver, thank you so much. She is running for Precinct 6. Please go out, vote. Early voting begins February 17th through the 27th. Voting day is March 3rd. Get out there, make a plan, bring all your friends, all your family. Voting registration ends February 2nd.
Yes, so check that registration.
Make sure you check your voter registration status by just Googling what is my voter registration status in Texas.
Yeah, you can go votetexas.gov also.
Yes.
But yes, Google it. You can follow me on social media, Sophia Noir _Texas on Instagram.
Yes.
Sophia Noir on Facebook.
Reach out to Sophia, donate to the campaign, guys. Like, this stuff is really important. It's important for us to not only vote with our actual physical vote, but to also vote with our dollars. If you need help with knocking on doors, I will also be there. You have an event before we leave. You have an event that's happening on December 7th.
That's correct.
So follow Sophia Anwar on socials. She'll tell you exactly where that event is going to be. But we know that the theme is going to be honoring and recognizing very influential women in our community.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I one thing I've really noticed is, we go to a lot of spaces, and communities are built up by so many, but women are really the backbone of those communities.
Yep.
And so I would love to, share about my race, but spend more time hearing about the amazing things that people are doing, because the more we learn what other people do, and I had a woman I met who recently asked me, she was like, who are you? Introducing myself. And then she just stopped me and she said, what do you do for the community?
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that Wow. I
Yeah.
had to pause for a second. I was
Yeah.
like, what am I doing for the community? But that was a wonderful question because she asked, how are you serving? Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about your title and your jobs and whatever. I want to hear how you are taking time to invest in your community.
Right.
And that really stuck with me. And so I want to hear and see more of those women and celebrate them because
Amazing.
we have to invest in each other. And so this is a women's event to try to do that. Again, we'll have other events in the future that everybody, and I try to make mine as kid friendly as possible because I usually have to bring my children.
Right. Right.
So we'll have coloring pages and such. But
Nice.
yeah, December 7th, 4 to 6 p.m. Please reach out. Would love to have you. And again, this is a celebration. We want to make
Come
sure
meet
we're doing
Sophia
that.
Unver and complain about your problems.
Yes, I want to hear them, please. It's fun for me.
Yes. All right. Sophia, thank you so much for being
Thank
on the
you.
show. We're
Thank you
going to
so
do this
much.
again very, very soon.
Yes.
We'll do it between now and February 17th, which is going to be the first day for early voting.
Yes,
Get
yes.
out there, vote, and stay tuned for more amazing programming on Radio Azad. Radio Azad is where your voice matters. Thank you all so much for staying all the way to the very, very tippy top end. And we'll be back with more Mind Over Music next week.